Something shifted in the quantum field of possibility the moment you clicked on this content. This wasn't random chance or algorithmic coincidence. This was resonance. Among the trillion pieces of digital information flowing through cyberspace every second, among the endless stream of content designed to distract and numb, you were magnetically drawn to this specific frequency. This attraction reveals something crucial about your current evolutionary state. It demonstrates you're operating from a vibrational level that remains invisible to the majority. Here's what your presence here indicates about your inner landscape. Though we've never crossed paths before, you've been sensing it recently, haven't you? That unmistakable transformation in your relationship with reality. That expanding recognition that your fundamental perspective has undergone a profound metamorphosis. The person reading these words bears little resemblance to who you were 18 months ago, and shares virtually nothing with the version of yourself that existed 2 years back. Most humans complete their entire earthly journey without ever accessing the state of consciousness you're currently inhabiting. They catch fleeting glimpses occasionally, perhaps twice in a lifetime, momentary windows where they perceive deeper currents beckoning them forward, yet they retreat. They select security over evolution. They opt for the known prison over uncharted liberation, but your path diverged. You continued advancing toward the mysteries everyone else was desperately avoiding. You persisted in excavating deeper layers, while others remained content with superficial explanations. You maintained forward momentum even when it required abandoning everything you previously believed defined your identity. And here you stand now. Here you exist, prepared to absorb what most individuals lack the capacity to comprehend. Our planet teems with beings who believe they're conscious, while actually sleepwalking through their complete human experience. They execute routines that systematically drain their life force. They pursue objectives that originated in other minds entirely. They inhabit existences architected by external expectations and wonder why authentic fulfillment remains perpetually elusive. You transcended that paradigm. You ceased participating in that collective delusion. You recognized that the guidelines everyone else was religiously following led nowhere of genuine significance. You discovered that the pathway universally proclaimed as the exclusive route to success was actually a sophisticated dead end masquerading as advancement. This awakening you're experiencing transcends personal development. This isn't another temporary phase you'll eventually outgrow. This represents permanent consciousness elevation. This is your awareness expanding beyond the constraints that previously defined your reality's boundaries. You've likely observed that social interactions carry different qualities now. When people fixate on problems with obvious solutions, when they manufacture drama where none needs to exist, when they choose turbulence over tranquility, you no longer become emotionally entangled in their chaos. You can witness it without internalizing it. You can extend compassion without drowning in their energetic field. This isn't emotional disconnection. This is sovereignty. This is what manifests when you cultivate the capacity to remain centered regardless of surrounding circumstances. Most people believe external conditions must shift before internal peace becomes possible. You've uncovered that your inner state creates your outer experience. This transformation didn't occur instantaneously. You've been preparing for this moment far longer than you consciously recognize. Every obstacle you encountered that seemed insurmountable in its time, every connection that dissolved when you thought the loss would devastate you completely, every vision that collapsed when you were depending on it for salvation, all of it was conditioning you for this level of conscious awareness. You've mastered finding equilibrium within chaos. You've cultivated faith in outcomes beyond your direct control. You've located serenity that doesn't require circumstances aligning with your preferences. This wisdom cannot be acquired through literature or seminars. This is understanding earned through direct engagement with existence's most challenging teachings. The individuals in your orbit have undoubtedly registered the shift. Some are magnetized to this new frequency you're emanating. Others experience discomfort in your presence now because your energy illuminates their own internal restlessness. Your centeredness makes their reactivity more apparent. Your genuineness makes their personas feel more burdensome. Don't interpret their unease personally. Their response isn't about you. It's about what you symbolize to them. You're living proof that alternative ways of being exist in this reality. You're breathing evidence that it's possible to be fully human without being constantly overwhelmed by the human condition. You've stopped attempting to repair other people. You've stopped believing you're accountable for everyone else's emotional well-being. You've stopped accepting that love must be earned through performance or self-sacrifice. You've finally grasped that the most loving action is becoming completely yourself. This isn't narcissism. This is contribution. When you operate from this level of authentic presence, you grant others permission to do likewise. When you refuse to compromise your truth to ease others' discomfort, you model what integrity embodies. When you select harmony over conflict, you demonstrate that alternatives exist. But here's where the phenomenon becomes truly fascinating. The more aligned you become with your genuine essence, the more reality begins responding differently to your presence. Possibilities emerge that weren't previously visible. Relationships form that feel effortless and organic. Support materializes precisely when you require it. This isn't supernatural, though it may feel mystical. This is what happens when you stop swimming against the current of your own existence and begin flowing with it instead. When you stop forcing results and start trusting the unfolding. When you stop attempting to control every variable and start collaborating with the intelligence that's been orchestrating your journey throughout. You've discovered something that revolutionizes everything. You've realized that you are not isolated from life. You are not a casualty of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of other people's decisions or external events. You are life expressing itself through human form. You are consciousness experiencing itself through your distinctive lens. This recognition transforms how you navigate reality. Challenges become riddles to decode rather than catastrophes to endure. Obstacles become catalysts for expansion rather than proof that something is fundamentally wrong. Uncertainty becomes exploration rather than dread. You're beginning to understand that everything occurring is happening for your development, not because you're being penalized or examined, but because evolution requires friction. Resilience develops through adversity. Understanding emerges through direct experience. Tranquility deepens through contrast. The previous version of you used to question, "Why is this happening to me?" The current version inquires, "What is this here to reveal?" That shift in questioning transforms everything. It converts you from victim to researcher, from helpless to empowered, from reactive to responsive. You're no longer seeking yourself in other people's judgments. You've stopped consulting external validation to determine your value. You don't need anyone's authorization to be who you are anymore. That desperate hunger for approval that used to motivate so many of your choices has simply dissolved. This isn't because you've become egotistical or isolated. It's because you discovered something unshakable within yourself, a knowing that doesn't require evidence, a confidence that doesn't need continuous reinforcement, a sense of identity that remains whole regardless of who enters or exits your experience. You've probably released some relationships during this process. Companions who couldn't handle your evolution, family members who preferred the previous version because it was easier to influence, romantic partners who felt intimidated by your newfound autonomy. These departures caused pain, but they didn't shatter you. Instead, they created openings. Openings for people who can meet your frequency. Openings for relationships founded on authenticity rather than dependency. Openings for connections that amplify your life rather than deplete it. You're no longer willing to diminish yourself to ease others' anxiety. And that standard attracts precisely the appropriate individuals. Your relationship with temporality has shifted fundamentally. You're no longer in perpetual haste to reach somewhere else. You're no longer deferring your contentment until conditions become ideal. You've learned to find abundance in simple moments, to uncover wonder in routine experiences. This doesn't mean you lack drive or vision. Your aspirations haven't vanished, but they no longer bear the burden of your complete identity. Achievement doesn't establish your worth. Setbacks don't determine your essence. You've separated who you are from what you accomplish. The worry that used to devour you about tomorrow has transformed into fascination. The remorse that used to torment you about yesterday has become appreciation for lessons received. You're fully present in your existence for perhaps the first time ever. You comprehend now that presence is the only location where life actually occurs. The past exists solely in recollection. The future resides only in projection. Reality manifests in this instant. And this instant is where your influence resides. Every inhalation, every pulse, every decision, right here, right now. Your intuition has become stronger than your terrors. That inner compass that used to murmur beneath layers of uncertainty and programming now communicates with precision and conviction. You trust it. You follow it. You've learned to differentiate between the voice of wisdom and the noise of insecurity. This confidence in your internal guidance has led you toward territories you never would have explored previously, ventures that frightened the former you, possibilities that challenged everything you thought you understood about your potential. Encounters that expanded your conception of what's achievable. You're no longer terrified of making incorrect decisions because you've understood there are no incorrect decisions, only experiences, only teachings, only opportunities for development and expansion. Every route leads somewhere worthwhile. Every choice reveals something significant about yourself. The compulsion to have everything resolved has vanished. You've embraced the elegance of not knowing what unfolds next. The enigma of an unscripted future no longer paralyzes you. It energizes you. It reminds you that existence is an expedition, not a destination. You've stopped striving to be flawless. You've stopped concealing your imperfections and pretending you have everything mastered. Your authenticity has become more precious to you than your reputation. Your truth matters more than other people's comfort with that truth. This openness isn't fragility, it's bravery. It requires tremendous strength to appear as you genuinely are in a society that rewards performance over authenticity. But you've discovered that genuine connection only occurs when facades dissolve, when pretending ceases, when truth is expressed. Your presence has become magnetic in ways you never anticipated. People are attracted to something they detect in you but can't precisely identify. That something is serenity, authentic satisfaction, the uncommon quality of someone who isn't attempting to be anywhere other than exactly where they are. This magnetic quality isn't something you can simulate or generate. It emerges organically when you stop battling yourself. When you stop resisting your own experience. When you make peace with every aspect of who you are, you become comfortable with discomfort. Uncertainty doesn't trigger panic responses anymore. Change doesn't feel like a threat to your foundation. You've learned to ride the currents of existence instead of being overwhelmed by them. The old cycles that used to ensnare you have lost their influence. Compulsive behaviors that once seemed impossible to overcome simply fell away. Destructive relationships that felt permanent naturally dissolved. Restrictive beliefs that seemed carved in stone crumbled without struggle. This transformation occurred not through force or determination, but through recognition. You saw through the illusions that were maintaining your imprisonment. You recognized the narratives you were telling yourself weren't accurate. You realized the cage you thought confined you had no actual barriers. Now you're operating from a completely different framework, one that functions on faith instead of fear. Abundance instead of scarcity, potential instead of restriction. This isn't optimistic thinking. This is a fundamental shift in how you perceive existence itself. Here, I want to pause for just a moment to address something that needs to be acknowledged. If these insights are resonating deeply with your current experience, and you want this dialogue to continue growing, the most powerful way to support its expansion is through your engagement. This isn't just about numbers. It's about creating a signal that tells the algorithms something meaningful is happening here. So, as we near the conclusion of this exploration that somehow navigated its way to you through the infinite web of digital consciousness, I want to leave you with something practical. If you felt an internal shift while absorbing these words, if something has clicked into place, anchor that state by taking one small action. Leave a comment with the phrase, "I choose conscious evolution." Let it be more than just words. Let it be your personal declaration. The moment you decided to fully embrace this transformation. So here you exist at the conclusion of this transmission that somehow discovered its path to you across the immensity of digital space. But this isn't truly a conclusion at all. This is your commencement, your authentic commencement. You are extraordinary. Not because you're superior to anyone else, but because you've selected consciousness over unconsciousness. You've selected evolution over comfort. You've selected truth over convenience. Most people will never make those selections. Most people will complete their entire lives without ever questioning the reality they've inherited. But you questioned everything. You deconstructed the beliefs that weren't supporting you. You departed from relationships that were exhausting you. You stopped performing roles that were suffocating your essence. That requires exceptional courage. The fact that this content reached you is confirmation of what you already understand intuitively. You're not like everyone else. You never were. And that's precisely how it's meant to be. Your journey of awakening isn't finished because it's never finished. Consciousness continues expanding. Awareness continues deepening. Existence continues revealing new dimensions of meaning and possibility. But you've crossed a threshold that most people never even approach. You've remembered who you truly are beneath all the conditioning. You've reclaimed your authority from everyone and everything you surrendered it to. You've returned home to yourself. Now go live as the extraordinary being you are. The world needs your illumination.